We're talking about witch camps. The Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice has symbolically shut down one of northern Ghana's most notorious witches' camps in the village of Nabuli. This means freedom for 57 women cast in bondage for decades on accusation of witchcraft. The witches' camp's menace has been a subject of a JoyNews documentary, Camps of Bondage. My colleague Justice Baidu will be joining us on the line to tell us how it went. But first, here is a report he put together about one of the witches who is making her journey back home.
The Nabuli Witches Camp. For some, a safe haven where women accused of witchcraft, fleeing persecution, find solace. But for others, this is a dreaded open dungeon where those that are unwelcome in their own homes come to die. This camp has been here for as long as anyone here remembers. Now it is about to shut down. Kuma Awie is one of the last women packing up to leave. Only yesterday, one woman died in this camp. According to the people who knew her, she was well over 100 years old and had been here in this camp for over 30 years. She died of ill health. It is stories like that and many other women who had died in this camp before her that makes that journey of this woman one with mixed feelings. Happy on one hand that she's finally leaving, but also uncertain of the journey that lies ahead. Kuma Awie's story is like that of many who came before her into this camp. Someone in her hometown said she saw her in her sleep trying to cut off her head. That accusation was enough to convict her and force her out of her home and away from her family after hours of beating and torture.
As I'm going home, I am looking forward to the people I know welcome me back home. My stepmother, my grandchildren, my husband, and all the people I used to talk to.
Mma Ble Bala is also leaving the camp, but would not be going back to her home village 18 kilometers away from Nabuli, where she came from 25 years ago. She's choosing instead to live just outside the Nabuli town.
I am not going anywhere. I am happy here. Even in my sickness or death, I will be here. If I die, they can take my remains back home. But as I live, I'd live here.
Why can't you go home? Why can't you go back home to Nawek?
They'll kill me. The sort of beatings I suffered when I was accused of witchcraft nearly took my life. I can't go back to that again.
I've come to the palace of Isifu Isa VII, the powerful chief of Nabuli, who has led the age-old fight to have this camp closed down.
I am happy we achieved this. I am happy for all the support.
Justice Baidu filed that report. Justice joins me all the way from Nabuli now on the line. Hello, Justice.
Hello, Gifty.
Justice, this is a rather symbolic closure, as CHRAJ makes us understand. How did this ceremony go?
So it was in part a celebration, but also a solemn moment for especially the over 50 women, Gifty, that have lived in this camp for well over 30 years, who now are free to go home. It's drumming and songs of joy.
Hello, Justice. I think I'm losing you intermittently. Would you be able to say that again? Well, we'll try and work the lines again and get Justice back on the line. But earlier, he sent this piece to camera.
This is a truly historic moment, not just for the women in this camp, but also for the people who live in the community in Nabuli itself and even beyond, and this entire enclave, because this is an age-old practice that has not just held development in this area back, but then also put the name of the people here in bad light nationally. So over the last 2 days since I've been here, the people I've been speaking with tell me that they are now tired of this and want a quick solution to this menace. And so today's occasion is really very, very important for them. And yesterday, traditional leaders, community members that I spoke with were full of joy that this has finally happened. The thing to note also is that a lot of these women are now choosing to stay. Many of them have been here for well over 2 decades and have come to be used to this community, and also scared of what they are not sure would happen if they went back into their communities, and so are choosing to stay. It's a high-powered delegation from the CHRAJ, from the campaign groups that have been involved in the advocacy to close this camp, from both Accra and at the regional level, that are coming in here today to have this ceremony. What will happen beyond today is the reintegration process. It has taken over 2 years to this point, engaging the women, their communities, the leaders here, to ensure that when these people are brought back, they are well able to integrate. And part of the thing that I know is going to be happening, according to the CHRAJ and the group that I've been speaking with, are deliberate efforts to put these women on livelihood support programs like the LEAP and then other social intervention initiatives to ensure that they are not vulnerable and that they are able to take good care of themselves in order that they are not forced to come back to this camp.
Let's go back on the line and talk to Justice Baidu, who joins us from northern Ghana. Hello, Justice. You were telling me about how the program went. I'm afraid I'm going to lose you. Let's quickly talk about the community, the reintegration that they talk about. How is this process going to be?
So Nabuli is located in the Bushego district and was there as part of this event, and he did say when I spoke with him that they now have a committee that is led by he himself as dissect chair, and now no one would have the right to force anybody out of any community in the district, and you would now have to refer any such complaint not just to the police in your community, but as high as the district assembly security council, and they would then, in consultation with the CHRAJ and all the bodies involved, take a decision on what happens to such a person who any such allegations have been leveled against. He's also told me about, as I did say in that report, their plans to put these women on LEAP, which means then that they have a sustainable means of earning a living, because a lot of these women are going back to people they probably have never seen in 3 decades, and so it's understandable that they are really going to struggle if they do not have any source of livelihood. So that has also happened. Mr. without the CHRAJ national boss, who had to come from Accra to this event today, was in a very somber mood and spoke about the times when he started work with CHRAJ as a regional boss in the Upper East region, when he had to work first as a junior officer in the Gambaga witches camp, which is also one of the notorious camps that are still in existence, and did say that he is hoping that this would mark the beginning of the process to close the 4 major camps that are left in this region also down as soon as possible, Gifty.
As soon as possible, hopefully. But how you've been interacting with people in this community, I assume. Do you get a sense that they're ready to accept these women back into society?
Largely, yes. Largely, yes. I think the problem here is mainly with the poverty level. People really, even if they did want to have these women back, the challenge is that a lot of them do not have a means of earning a living, and so it's really difficult. People can barely feed themselves 2 or 3 square meals a day, and so it is really difficult, and especially these are old, vulnerable women, some of whom are very sick, well over 90 years, and so it really would require a very strong social intervention scheme that is deliberately designed to ensure that all of these women are well and safe, and then also to ensure that the process goes on. I know that, I mean, it's not just an event that has happened today. I'm aware that a lot has gone on in terms of the engagement, and with the people that I have spoken with, largely do think that this has to end at some point, and are all prepared to work. But I mean, we've had instances where this has gone on, when the cameras have been taken off, reported cases of allegations and atrocities committed against women have also been reported in some places within this area. And so I can only hope, Gifty, that this would mark the fresh dawn for the women who live in this area.
Thank you very much, Justice Baidu there, talking to us from Nabuli, one of the areas where about 5 more of Ghana's witch camps are located, or the witch camps in the northern part of Ghana are located. One which has been closed down in Nabuli. Well, project coordinator for the Presby Go Home project and a member of the National Reintegration Committee, Mr. Samson La, tells JoyNews there are plans in place to ensure that the women are well received by their communities.
Today's exercise is now a closure as a result of the reintegration of the women.
So the women are taken out of the camp?
No, they are not taken out of the camp. Already they are gone.
Okay.
You understand? Now what we are trying to do is to come and then ceremonially close the camp so that no new person will come.
Okay.
And this job was done by the National Reintegration Committee in collaboration with Action 8, which I'm a member.
Okay.
And we visited Nabuli severally. Our chairman, Dr. Al-Hussein, was there, and many of the others, including Action 8 program coordinator or manager, Mama Esther. They all helped us in doing this.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, what we have done is that we were able to reintegrate the women back home.
If you say you were able to reintegrate them, exactly
yes.
How do you?
Yes, what we do is that we find out from you, where are you coming from? And fortunately for us, there were no longer many in that particular camp. So they will tell you the story of where they are coming from and what they are doing. That was exactly what happened.
Okay.
And now, if we identify you, we are now able to visit your family properly, to know the reason why that sort of thing came. If we are able to settle it amicably, then we come back to you, prepare you, counsel you, and then you are gone back home.
Okay.
So that was what we did at Nabuli. And Nabuli chief, in fact, was very helpful, and some of the community members. And we realized that the women, their family members were willing to take them back home. So we were able to settle the issues, and then they went back home. But for today, it's just like a ceremonial thing we want to do, to officially close it down, so that no new persons will come to that camp.
Samson La speaking to Komla Adom earlier on News Desk. Well, freedom at last for all the women.